How much did your agency make this year?
My agency is on track to make about $750,000 this year. And so we want to finish by the point where next spring, we're going to be doing $1 million.
W's.
That's the goal. And so we're doing about 50K a month, but the idea is we've gotten 70, actually closer to 85 million views for clients. And we generated about 10 million in revenue for clients.
E-commerce is the greatest business opportunity of our generation.
What is up, people? Welcome back to another episode of the Ecom Unlimited podcast. It's your boy Kaj, here with my co-host Josh.
What's going on, everybody?
And let me just run a quick intro for our guest real quick. I'm going to go off the dome with this. We'll see where this goes. So today we have on one of our very good, very close childhood friends, Grant Farmer. In his adult life,
Grant Owen, thank you.
Yes, he rebranded to Grant Owen. Not because he doesn't love his family, but because he has a secret past as an artist. So if you ever see Grant, just tell him that you won't go quietly, and he'll know that I sent you.
Thank you.
So Grant, where do I start? Us and Grant, we have a lot of history. We got Grant into Amazon in 2021. Is that right? 2022?
Yeah. 2021 and 22. Yeah.
Yeah, we were on a snowboarding trip up to the Poconos, up to Jack Frost, and he was in a place where he was just looking to kind of transition from his corporate job. He was talking to me and Josh about what we were doing, primarily OA at that time, and he was like, you know what? I'm just going to give it a shot. So he started selling on Amazon. He was the worst prep client of all time with our 3PL. But he figured it out, right? He scaled the business, and then he realized that his strengths were not specifically focused on Amazon. And then at Miami Sellers Conference, we had another conversation. Me and Josh were like, we were thinking about starting a content agency. And Grant's actually like, I'm going to steal that idea and do it instead. And he did.
That's it.
And
the exact phrasing, I gotta cut in here. The exact phrasing was, because we were already talking about we should do some content stuff together. We should do stuff. Yeah. And you guys were like, what if we all went in on it? And I was like, I feel like I'm gonna do all of the work, and you guys are gonna do none of the work and just gonna benefit. So why would I give you guys a split in a partnership when there's literally nothing for you guys to do?
That's
all true.
Put 100% focus.
Yeah. So funny. I just wanted to give that kind of funny introduction. But Grant is a very good man, loves his wife, loves his family, works very hard, loves the Lord. As his shirt says, is rich in faith. He's a good friend, been a very good friend to me, and in times we call each other and talk about business all the time, just the highs and the lows. So he's someone that is good to have in your corner, and if you know him as your friend, you are blessed. So just wanted to gas you up a little bit there, bro.
Wow.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, I feel glazed. This is great.
All right.
Let's dive in.
Tell us about why Amazon is the greatest business model.
Amazon is dog shit right now, dude. It sucks ass. No, but it does. So like I will say, like,
that's the intro.
That's the intro, dog. No, I think to be honest, like I've at this point in the past like 4 years, I've learned a lot about side hustles, a lot about entrepreneurship, and I just, in reality, like everything works for somebody, and it's just about figuring out what works for you. And I think like you even see like the people that make it, like they've tried like 6 other things before they found the thing that they were like, yep, I'm willing to try. And at the end of the day, it's just about finding the thing where you're like, yep, I'm willing to do this. This is what I want to do, and I'm willing to like deal with the suck, deal with the dog, and just like dive in and figure it out. And for me, like I when I got Amazon was the first thing that just made sense. You guys were doing it, and I was like, okay, if you guys can do it, I feel like I could do that. You guys kind of made a pathway where it was like, hey, we'll give you the information we're learning. You can kind of copy what we do, and we'll help you kind of scale. And I was like, dude, that's easy. So I had my corporate job. I quit my side. I had a different side gig working as an IT project manager and doing consulting and stuff. So I was like, you know what? Let me just try to invest in this. Did it. I think I got to like 50K a month, which was like nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
W. But at the end of the day, like the model isn't for me, because like some people, if you're like autistic, you love sourcing, right? Like you're like, all I want to do is look at coupons and do that. Like, no, that's just not me. My mom would love that, but me, that's just like not what I love. Some people, it's like you just love going into the store and thrifting. It's like Gary Vee, where it's like if Gary Vee had his way, he would be doing garage sales full time, right? But no, he's like, instead I'm gonna, build this empire. But like, he's still at his root is like, I just want to be that guy hustling. That's not me. And I think there's other people where it's like, if you're a salesperson, wholesale might work, or even just like closing or setting for people online, like great way to make money. In fact, I actually think that's one of the best ways to make money. But again, not for me. So it's just about finding like which one you enjoy the most. What could you spend 12 hours a day doing? And I did 12-hour days in Amazon, and I was like, this kind of after a while, it just felt like a job. And I was like, I don't want a thing that feels like a job. I want a thing that makes me feel like really pumped. And so content made me feel pretty pumped, and figuring it out and learning it and meeting the people in it and doing some of the stuff, I'm like, yeah, this is pretty fun. So that was an easy pivot. And once I started it, it was just really evident that I didn't want to go back.
I think it's a really good idea. Like you're saying, like everything has its pitfalls, because it's like everything that you do is there's going to be great things about it, and there's going to just be things that you just don't really want to deal with and are just like terrible. And it's like a lot of times, like everyone can make it seem so great and all the time, and that there's no real problems that you're ever going to have to face, and that you just can create this like money machine. Especially through like ads and stuff, and you'll see other people do it behind the scenes, and they won't show everything behind the scenes. They'll just show all the great parts. So yeah, I just really like how that, description of how you kind of talked about all that kind of stuff. And
like at my peak, I think like I was doing $50K a month in OA, and I think I was making like 4,000 or 5,000 profit, right? Which to me, I was like, once I started doing that math, and I was like, oh, I'd kind of have to do 100K a month in order to replace my income. Yeah. I was like, I don't really like the idea of doing that. That just sounds like too much risk. So like for me, like I hit that point where I was like, I either got to figure out how to scale this thing and make a ton of money, or I just got to pivot. And the pivot to service-based stuff made a lot of sense. Like the service-based margins are super different. It's you're incentivized, like you're getting paid a retainer to do a specific function, and in great scenarios you're able to get like performance-based stuff as well if you're doing ads. Excuse me. But like I just didn't like debt. Didn't like credit card debt. Every single time I would spend money, I'd feel stress, and I was like, I just don't want to deal with it. I've replaced it with team stress. So like now I have like people that I have to hire and pay, and that's a lot of money. And I look at the bank account and I'm like, look at me, look at all the people I have to like that help me with the service that I have to pay out. But I don't know. I think like if you're trying to solve the $1,000 a month problem, it's really great. If you're trying to solve the $5,000 a month problem, it's really great. If you're trying to solve the $10,000 a month problem, it gets a little complex. And if you're trying to make life-changing money, it definitely gets complex. And there's a lot of different things that scale. Like I'm never going to own a 8-figure content agency, because those things don't exist. Even the top 1%, like that's not existing. But you can definitely own a 7-figure one, and your profit margins on that can be pretty great.
Yeah.
At what point in your journey did you want the side hustle to replace your full-time job? I forget when that happened. Was it once you started doing 50K months in Amazon and you thought it was possible?
It was pretty much immediately, to be honest. Okay. Like I got super depressed working my corporate job, had some personal stuff. I got super depressed with it, and I was like, I don't want to do. I just was like, I need to get my shit together, right? So it was after COVID, and I was like, I need to get my shit together on my corporate job, and that led me to looking into motivational content, which kind of led me into like the tangentially like entrepreneurship content, because a lot of the people doing motivational stuff were in entrepreneurship. And once I started consuming the right stuff, it definitely shaped my perspective. And I was like, okay, sweet, this makes more sense. Oh, okay, the people that think this way do these things. And once you start kind of, it's like almost like a cult. Like once you start like, being like, I hear people say the same stuff, I'm like, I want to be around those people. What are those people doing? In fact, the biggest thing that led to me quitting my corporate job, so I was like making 6 figures in my corporate job. The biggest thing that led me quitting that was I joined a mastermind. It was Dan Martell's mastermind, and I joined a call. I was one of the first people in there. So like I was one of the first like 50 people to pay for him on this coaching thing. And everybody on the call was complaining. They were all just bitching about all these problems they were having, and like how, clients were like paying with clients, paying with team, paying with revenue, didn't really know what to do. But I listened to that, and I was sitting at my desk, at my corporate job, and I was like, dude, I just want those problems. Like those sound like much better problems than the board problems I have right now, trying to deal with, you know, my corporate stuff. And so that was like the pinnacle of me being like, I gotta quit, and I'm gonna go all in on, at the time, the 2 side hustles. And I was like, I don't care, I'm gonna figure out a way to make money, and I'm just gonna pull the plug and do it. And I'm really grateful I did. Like that, I could see myself like kind of moving up in corporate life, but just never feeling like I'm doing anything. Compared to now, where it's like, yeah, I have all those problems and they do suck, but I like the people that have those problems. I get them, and it's a privilege.
I remember 2 things. I remember one, there was an Alex Hormozy podcast, I think on the Iced Coffee Hour, that you were sending to everybody. Dude. Yeah, that one went pretty hard. And then as you were just talking, I remembered when you were trying to get fully remote in your corporate job so that you could move, and they denied you, and you were like, screw it, I'm done.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I at that time, like, I had over like a year and a half, I was super driven through all the books and through all the podcasts and through all the motivational stuff. I got like 3 promotions in a very short period of time. I doubled my income. It was awesome. I was having a lot of fun. But I was like, you know what? I want location freedom. I've been here, grown up here all my life. We just really want to move away. And I had a boss, and she was fully remote. She was in Chicago. And so I was like, why do I have to live in PA when my boss is in Chicago? I got another teammate that's like in Kansas or whatever. So I was like, why do I have to do this? When they said no, I was like, all right, like that's it. And so I can either look for another job, which I don't want to do, or my worst case scenario is I just, you know, do this until I find another job. So we had a little bit of savings, and we just kind of did it. So it definitely wasn't a wise decision financially. And it definitely had like drawbacks, like we moved to Florida kind of on a whim. We sold everything, just packed up and went. I drove down in an Avalon, and the only belongings we had were in that, you know, 4-door tiny car. Toyota. And so we just I was like, we're just going to do it. And yeah, I'm glad it worked out, but I'm definitely that like entrepreneur type that like I am willing to take that kind of
just
risk,
send it,
which is very Amazon friendly. That's a rip
true.
It like, yeah. It's like, there's some Nike socks there. Let me just pull an order for 700 of them. Just see what happens. Let's just find some. Let's buy it and then find listings later. That's what we got to do.
Let's buy it and find it. That is definitely not recommended, but people do it.
People do it, dude. Let's FBM these bad boys. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I definitely had that hustle, but it just looked a little bit different. And I've always wanted a business. I never really wanted like that hustle thing. Like, you guys are building a business. You guys have always been like, we're gonna build a wholesale business.
Yep.
And there's a lot of teenagers, and there's a lot of 20-somethings that are twinks, and they're just trying to flex the fact that they got some of daddy's cash. They, you know, got a $50K loan, and they spend it all on inventory, and they're going to make, you know, $30,000 in sales, and then they're going to flex that orange graph, losing $20,000. Right? So like, there's all those guys. I just didn't want to be one of them. I hate those guys. So yeah, that Alex Hormozy pod definitely shifted things. He said something. He had this like mantra, and it was F happiness, and I was like, for some reason, I talk to people, everybody finds that person where it's like, that's the person that they're like, finally, there's that guy. That's exactly what I needed to hear, when I needed to hear it, how I needed to hear it. Some people, it's like, you know, Andrew Tate or Luke Belmar, or, Gary Vee, or, you know, Ed Milet, or Tony Robbins, John Maxwell. There's a lot of people that have that person. For me, it was Alex Hormozy saying that. I was like, yep, exactly the right time. And it literally shaped my life. I talked about it earlier today with somebody on my team. I was like,
that's funny.
I still live by it. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, kind of going back to a little bit like Amazon. Like, I remember you starting Amazon, and I remember you going up real quick just because we had all that information we were able to funnel to you, kind of help you along the way. And you were able to connect yourself with some outstanding individuals who you even found them really before they were really like big. I want to know like secrets on how you kind of go about networking, because I know you've done that in the social media space as well.
Yeah. So I mean, like, just like as an example, I think Corey was my first client, and we were all like, every year there's like a new thing that Amazon kind of is like the sound of Amazon Twitter, right? Which is like
Yep.
the majority of your audience. It's like there's a new thing that's like, this is what Amazon Twitter is talking about. For like 1 year, the year we got into it, it was like VAs.
Mm-hmm.
That was the year we got in, and it was like, this is what we have to do. Then the following year, it was wholesale. And wholesale was something that not really anybody was talking about. No one was really big on. And then Corey kind of came out of nowhere, being like, hey, I've been doing wholesale for 6 years. Let me just start talking about it. And he connected with Miles and connected with Warner and Garrett about it. And so after I heard them, I was just like, I don't care if this guy's 1,000 followers or not. Like, he's just legit. So I was the first person. I just DM'd him and I was like, hey, can I pay for an hour of your time? I think he charged me like $350, and I think I invited you guys on it. And I had a list of questions because, again, we were all in that same spot where we were like, hey, OA kind of is like,
Yeah.
we already did the VA thing, and now we're looking to do the how do we
Wholesale thing, yeah.
get into wholesale.
Yeah, because
And I was like, this guy's got it.
Also, only OA. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I was like, this guy's got it. So I'm jealous for information. If I see someone has something, I don't care if you have 1,000 followers or 100,000 followers. I'm still going to be like, yep, I'll put my money where my mouth is, and I'll pay for the information or just slide in the DMs and ask. And so that's what I did. And I think he charged us $350, charged me $350, and then I was like, hey, are you coming to Miami Sellers? He was like, no. And I said, you should come. And then he was like, okay, I'll come. I don't have any place to stay. And I said, you can stay with me. And then he was like, okay, you don't have to pay the $350 if I can stay with you. And I was like, W. So that was like, I'm just going to make sure that we become friends. And if you're homies and you're not connected, I'm going to get you connected. But I also want your info. There's a couple other people that are good at this. Joe's really good at this. Joe Mazan. Yeah,
Yep,
he's a
phenomenal.
vibe, dude. He's great at this. And I think like he stayed in Amazon, but he's like, that's like a skill set.
Yep.
Just connecting. Everyone, like, a connector is like a really valuable friend to have, because you always want to have that friend that's like connected to that other friend. So, yeah, as soon as I recognized that, like the next level, I've done that more and more. Even with like when I started this agency, I was consuming a lot of Ryan McGinn's content, and Ryan McGinn is like the first guy that really did short form at scale and short form agencies at scale, and he did them for a bunch of people, and he was really the first person to do like business short form TikTok. That was like his agency, and it was just like super niche. No one really knew about it. No one knew that it was going to work out. But he created a bunch of different styles. He worked with Hormozy. He worked with Cardone. He worked with a lot of the Jordan Peterson. You know, he now works with Cody Sanchez. You know, so there's a lot of people that are within that space, but that weren't known until he worked with them. And I did the same exact thing. And I was like, oh, he's going to be at this conference. I'm going to go to that conference. Oh, he's talking to people. I'm not going to go up and ask for a picture, because that's being a fan. I'm going to go up and be like, ask questions. And then we went to the bar and we became friends. And, you know, I moved to the same area that he was at, and we've been friends ever since. And so it's just like, there's a lot of people.
I also saw you broke his Porsche.
Yeah. What? I did see that.
No, he made a
too.
big deal about that. Yeah, no, it was already broken. It's a piece of crap Porsche. He loves that Porsche, but it's a piece of crap. But I don't know. I wrote down like, I will meet Alex Hormozy before I'm 30. It'll happen. At this point, I'm like 1 degree of separation from enough people.
You're close.
I'm getting close, dude. I'm getting pretty close. So like, I do want to, even if it's through people or with people, if I have to pay for it, I don't care. Like, I just want to, I think it's a skill to say, okay, who has the information that I want? Right now, I'm studying a lot of YouTube stuff. It was short form and content. Now it's just a ton of YouTube. And so if I watch a podcast from somebody that I really like, I'll reach out to that person. And if it costs money to be in their community or get that value or get that call, I'll pay that every single time, just because there's people that have information that I want, and the fastest way for me to get it is to talk to them. And people remember the people that pay. So if you're like, you know, someone hits you guys up and they're like, hey, can I have an hour of your time? You're like, yo, let's hop on a call, right? Like, they're like, hey, I'll pay you $100. Can I talk to you for 30 minutes? Like, odds are you're probably going to say yes. And more often than not, that can probably turn into a good friendship.
Yep. 100%.
So that's
Yeah,
what
it's a way to
everybody
stand
else
up from
does.
the
And I
noise.
think, yeah, exactly. And you don't want to be a fan. So just don't be a fan.
Exactly. No, you don't want to be a fan. And the more up the ladder you go, you realize everyone's just a person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. I mean, and everybody's got like shit that they're dealing with, right? Like,
Yep.
it's like, you know, like you want to think that it's perfect for at some levels, but at every single level, it's just like at a different scale. And everybody also has that person they want to be like.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know, like I've got my list of people that I'm like, oh yeah, if I just had, you know, if I was just making 150K a month in the agency space, life's good. And then I talk to the people that are doing 150 to 300, and they're like, this sucks. I'm like, oh, okay, that's helpful. That's like really valuable information. And I think it's the same scale for like Amazon. If someone's doing 10K a month, for someone doing 0, you're like, oh, that guy's crushing it.
Yep.
And then you do 10K a month, and you're like, oh, I'm like a piece of shit compared to the person who's doing 50. And it's the same level at each tier. And then you talk to them.
Yep.
And it's like, it really isn't that complex. Just like talk to more people, do more stuff.
Yeah. We're
and
making
figure out if
more
you like
profit this year than we did last year, and I've never felt smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same.
Yeah, dude. I mean, yeah, I think that's a huge thing for a lot of people. It's just like, I don't know. Everyone's got their lane, and if you don't want to be that networker guy, you don't have to be.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
information at this point, like information isn't even really valuable anymore because so much of it's free. But relationships are super valuable, right?
Yeah,
Like
way more valuable.
So if you find the right relationships, that can unlock a lot of stuff. And that's the next decade of our lives is like, how many relationships can you have? Because if you have more relationships, you're going to be richer.
Yeah. Now,
Social media helps.
100%. Now, like, a lot of people are like, oh, dude, what do I DM somebody? Like, what's your strategy around that? Because I get a lot of questions around that, too.
What do you DM somebody to, like, hang out with them and talk to them?
Or, like when you're
How you
first
slide
trying to, like, get to know them and, like, you're like, oh, this is someone I want to, like, not target, but, like, become more friends with, see what their business is like, see what types of problems they're dealing with now that they're at this level compared to me. Like, what's what's a DM that you would send somebody to, like...
Hey, I can add $1,000 of revenue to you free of charge if you want to do a video. Are you interested? Question mark.
No, dude. No, actually, so I'm looking back. I just found this one. So I wanted to talk to Jake. He runs a company called Views to Clients, and it's a YouTube company. It's a YouTube agency, and I'm building YouTube is part of our business. But I don't think I want to level up in that. I want to level up for clients, and so I looked at him and I was like, he's good. He knows a lot of stuff about SEO. Right, SEO is relevant for me. I really want to learn more about YouTube SEO and how to rank people as number one for their categories. So my exact DM was, yo, dude, can we hop on a call? And then I saw that he had a call link on his website. And so after I sent that, I just booked it. And then he said, I just saw you booked. Are we good for that time? And I said, yeah, that works. And then during that call, I was like, hey, how much do I have to pay to get access to this? And he's like, I don't know, I was thinking about starting a group. And I said, I don't care, I'll be your first client, here's money, like just give me the sauce. And we'll be friends from that. Like we'll continue to develop that relationship. I've done that with dozens of people. Like I wish I could, like that wasn't exact, it's not like a weird, it's probably 24 people that I'm like, if they know something or I want to find something specific, I look at the person, I'm saying, yep, they have a ton of authority in that. Hey, can we hop on a call? Hey, sorry, dude. You know, like I actually did that with a second person, not specifically there's a guy named Vexian on Twitter, and it was another YouTube agency guy. He's another YouTube strategist. And I was like, hey, do you do consult calls? Would love an hour of your time. And he's like, sweet, but they're not free. They're not free. And I said, that's fine. Send it, whatever it is. And I think even if you don't have cash, if you're not willing to do that, just like you can send emails. Most people are human beings. So just like send a DM and say, hey, can we hop on a call? Or have a very specific, interesting question, right?
Yeah,
don't chat miles and say, how do I get ungated, right? Like that's so dumb. Sir, can you please hire me? I'm looking for products, right? Like don't do that.
Yeah.
You sound like a Pakistani guy, so just don't do that. Be someone that's unique and ask like a question that looks like you're actually trying. And people want to help people that are trying.
Yes. A question that looks like you're actually trying, not a question that sounds like you haven't even started yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Or that you have money. Both work.
Yeah.
Both work. Yep. It's good.
Yeah.
Are you guys having any fun right now? Are you guys having any...
Why does your business suck?
Every business sucks, dude. Every business sucks.
I have fun occasionally in business.
You have fun?
Yes.
What's the most annoying thing for you guys right now? What's the most annoying thing in your Amazon business right now?
The things that annoy me, I mean, there's so many things that annoy me, but I really don't like editing listings, but I have to do it, and I do it. I like learning new stuff. I find that fun. So like trying to figure out TikTok, that's fun.
Sure. TikTok's more fun than Amazon right now.
Right
TikTok
now,
Shop
we're kind of
is
maxed
super
out
fun.
on spend, which is annoying because I feel like for me, I need, like the main thing in an Amazon business is buying more inventory, right? And I can't buy
Yeah.
more inventory because all of our spend is lined up for the next 2 or
Where's
3 weeks.
where's our wrench? The actual sauce about networking, it's no one wants to hear, but it's the most obvious. Go when you're out in an event. First off, don't be an autistic dork. Go out and be with people. All right. So like you're not going to do it. Like yes, you can do some stuff online. Yes, you can DM people. Yes, you can be a human being and sound interesting. But like when you go to an event, like say go to events. If there's meetups,
How many events have you
go
gone
to
to this year?
That's a great
this
question.
year.
Yeah.
Well, I shoot them, so it's a little bit different, right?
Doesn't
Like I
matter.
go to like
Let's count them. 10, over 20.
I probably like 3 a month, dude. 2 to 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I will say that there's not a single event I've gone to, not one, where I've not gotten money out of it eventually. So either I'm going there because a client is asking me to film it, or I go there and I end up getting a client from it. And it may not be immediately, but like whether it's a year later, 6 months later, but like meeting people, talking to them, and then coming back and just religiously being like, yep, we're going to keep hanging out, or I'm going to keep checking in. That has always led to ROI every single time.
Well said.
Every single time.
I
But-
can say the exact same thing, and I haven't gone to
Here's
nearly as
something-
many events.
Here's something that people don't do that you should always do is when you go to an event or I say host more dinners. So like if you go out to and you hang out with other Amazon sellers or whatever, host more dinners, and before people have a chance to pay for the dinner. I don't if up to it's going to be less than $1,000, and I know that for some people $1,000 sounds like a lot of money, but like pay for the dinner because people always remember the guy that buys them drinks or the guy that buys them dinner. So that if you buy food for somebody, it's like they're like, oh, I owe Grant because Grant's that G that did it. In fact, I'll give an example.
Reciprocity
Last year-
is one of the most powerful things.
Reciprocity is massive, and I mean
That's a word?
it's from the book Influence, not
Oh, okay, gotcha.
from that book, but the book Influence is like huge on this. Like, if you give someone little without asking for anything, the return is massive when you do ask for something. So, for example, I thought about this, like, Miles, I went to dinner with a bunch of Amazon sellers. It was after we were filming. I think it was sometime last year. I think it was like January or something like that. And Miles, it was a bunch of Amazon sellers that went to eat pizza at a place in Brickell. And Miles bought dinner before everybody could even get the check. So like before the checks even came out, he already took care of it. Dude, every single person at the table was like, Miles is a G. That's dope. He's a cool guy. And I still remember it to this day. And in my mind, I'm thinking Miles equals G. He's dope. And it wasn't because of his following, it was because of anything, no information, purely because he was like, oh, he just did that. It was like, there was swagger in it. And ever since then, anytime I go out to dinner, I'm going to buy dinner for the people at that table. To the point where they're like, Grant, don't do that shit anymore. You bought the last 3 dinners. Let me buy this one. Right? It's like there's that level of it. And people remember it. And your job is to not be someone that people forget. Whether you're online
Right.
or in person. The
Yeah, that's
worst
huge.
thing you can be is forgettable. Most of you dorks online, oh my goodness gracious, all right? Pick up your phone, say something interesting to it, and then put it down and press post. And then after you press post, go on someone else's profile, look at something that they said, and if you disagree with it, say it and say why you disagree for good reason. Because what we don't need is a bunch of AI-generated VA bots on LinkedIn saying, what a
Great
very
post,
inspirational
Grant.
post.
That's so insightful.
We don't
Grant.
need that.
I
And
never
that's
thought
all you
of
are.
that, Grant.
You are an NPC unless you do something like that. So be a human being and say something that someone might disagree with. And guess what? At the very least, they'll know you. The worst thing could be is not known. That's so lame. So I don't know. That's my networking tip. DM people,
it.
ask advice, say good stuff, be memorable. Even if they think you're an asshole, you'll probably be a rich asshole. That's probably what it is. Grant Cardone, his whole thing was like, you're going to see my face so much on social media and you're going to receive so many emails that I'm going to force you to unsubscribe from me. And I'd rather you unsubscribe because at the very least, I own real estate in your head. And for someone that cares about real estate, that's a W. So that's what he does. He's a lot richer than me. So I'm going to do that.
One of my biggest W's in the Amazon space, which is only counteracted by some of my biggest L's.
Yeah.
But one of my biggest W's is not getting into
False
bundles.
humility.
because they cost a lot of money, so it balances out. But biggest W, not getting into bundles, because I knew just looking at the policy and looking at all the people that were getting into it, I was like, it is a matter of time before all of these people get clipped, and it's so obvious that it's coming.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
well, dude, I'm not gonna lie. Like, we don't even want to say bundles, but I'm saying like there's so many things. It's like there's the bundles, there's the making your own listings, there's the FBA, the generic listing stuff. There's like it really has never been harder to play by Amazon's rules. No one wants to talk about that, but it's never been harder to be like, I am straight and narrow, and I'm just going to do it because guess what? They have AI right now that's shutting down people just because,
people
just
have
to prove
been
it.
used to get away with. People have just been used to getting away with stuff for the last
for so
10,
long.
15 years, and now it's like Amazon's actually cracking.
Yeah, but it's not everybody's like Jonah, because Jonah, like, you know, Jonah's was like, I admit it, you know, like I spent $5,000 on a PO and the products were bad, and it sucks because I have all this other business that got shut down because of it, but like that really sucks, but I'm going to own that 5K. There's guys where it's like, it wasn't even 5K, dude, and it was orders that happened months ago, it was already sold through, everything's already gone, it's just a listing that existed, and I don't know, like, frankly, I haven't opened my Amazon account in months. I probably have a section 3 in there. I don't even know.
You do not. You do not. I looked.
I'm good, dude.
I think your account health is still pretty crispy, honestly, which is crazy considering.
Because I have not played by the rules. I have not been playing by the I have not played by Amazon terms of service whatsoever. So if they don't think I'm breaking the law, then I don't know what's going on.
Let me circle back to that, because that's another reason why I'm been putting in effort onto the TikTok space, trying to figure out the D2C, because it's like at the end you have to be multi-channel if you're going to be leveraged.
And also, I'm just saying, like, the people I see win on TikTok, they're winning big.
It's crazy.
Rob the Bank winning massive. So like
massive.
The fact that like it's just like it is a gold rush, and to be honest, guys, like you're about 5 months away from missing it.
Yep.
If you don't launch a product and then sell it, and then just get UGC creators to make a shit ton of content about it, you've missed it. And it's never been like this before, where you can like pay, like the move is have the product or find a brand that has a product or whatever.
Yep.
Then commission UGC creators, commission 50 of them to make content. They all make content. The best performing ones you run as ads. You make all the money from all of it. They get a commission for the one that they posted. You get money from all the other stuff because you own the creative. And it's literally a gold rush. No one's talking about it. No one's really doing it. Well, everybody's doing it, but like it's not going to last this long forever. It's going to get clipped within the next year. But it's like, it was happening last year. No one wanted to talk about it. I'm sure the Amazon Temu thing, the Amazon Haul or whatever, is going to be fine. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it at all.
But I'm saying, like, I'm sure that's going to be okay. It's going to be its own little thing. Walmart, they're like 10 years behind still. So like that'll
20.
Yeah, they're going to get there in like 10 years. TikTok Shop is like,
it's going bananas.
I would hate to be someone trying to sell Amazon right now when you could just as easily sell TikTok Shop and make more money.
Really
Talk to us about the difference in scaling a service-based content agency and an inventory-based Amazon business, right? Because like, in my opinion, the two biggest differences between those things is Amazon, your cash flow cycle's kind of reversed. Your biggest expense is inventory. Service-based, your biggest expense is payroll, I'm assuming. So just as someone who's done both, talk to me about the difference in what's required to be successful at each.
It can feel like I felt like whenever I was doing Amazon stuff, it felt like every single time it was like just trading, and like because I didn't touch any products, like I imagine it's different if you're like packing and shipping stuff, but I felt like, okay, I am betting on this product to be profitable at this time. This is what the data's telling me, and so I'm like booking a trade and hoping it goes through, and then you're spending a couple months being like, did I lose money or did I make money from that investment? So there's an element of it that can feel like, oh, if I just grind for like 5 days with the capital I have and I have the knowledge and the tools and stuff, I can kind of live passively for a little bit. I remember like Dylan Sawyer was like, I'm going to spend $500K or like $1 million in like the end of October through the beginning of November. And then I don't have any cash. I'm completely leveraged out, but that's going to get me all the money I need through November and December. And I can just like chill for a bit. That can feel passive income-y for sure. There's not a part of my business that feels passive income-y. It's just that I'm like, there's more of a they are paying for X amount of content or consistent content, whether it's one video a week, one video a day, whatever the contract states. I film it, I prep it, it's edited, it's distributed, and that's it. And it can kind of feel like once the benefit of the back end relationship is where you get the profit, right? Like the first month when I fly out and film with somebody, like I'm not negative, but I'm not extremely profitable, right? Because I'm paying, like, you know, like last week, I went to Miami for a day, and then I filmed in Tampa for a day. I filmed in St. Pete for a day. I'm filming in Scottsdale for a few days this weekend, and I'm flying to Austin. That's a lot of flying. It's a lot of travel. And so all those might feel like it's like negative on the balance, but then I won't have to see them for like 2 months, right? And so that following month, it can feel like much more profit. And so the cash flow is just so much different, and you're dealing with different levels of expectations. You're dealing with people, and you're dealing with like lead flow. And so you're solving a different problem. And in some cases, like I know guys that charge $20K a month retainers plus a 5% or 10% rev share, right? And that means that you're getting $20K to do a specific amount of content. And if that content performs well, you can make $100K, right? If you generate $1 million for somebody in 1 month, you get $100K. That can feel pretty passive. That can feel pretty sweet. You can't do that. Like there's not a 10x on your investment, because most of your investments in Amazon is like very calculated. I'm expecting to make my 20%. Not I have a potential to make a ridiculous amount of money from this because of the content that worked. Or if you're running ads, like ads agencies, if I drive a certain number of money, you're paying me for the content itself and you're paying me for a percentage of the ad rev. So if I play with both of those, I can make a lot of money. I do think it's like infinitely more scalable. I don't think content agencies are, but like SEO or ads agencies for sure. Because it's like, here's a creative, I'm going to dial some buttons, how much ad spend leads to my ROAS being X. If my ROAS is X, then you're making X in revenue, and based on that revenue, you're making X in profit, and I'm going to take a percentage of that profit.
Yeah, and that's why we're trying to work a lot more closely with brands, and also figuring out like the TikTok shop side of things, the D2C side of things, because the one thing with Amazon often, like, yes, if you partner with a brand where their listings are terrible, you add good images, you run some PPC, you're going to increase velocity. But like you said, there isn't, like, a listing is kind of capped in regards to how much stuff it'll actually sell, right? So it's really like, okay, what's selling, and then how much of that current pie can I capture? But the next step for us as brand partners is like, how can we figure out how to just 10x the whole pie? Because if you have a brand that you're partnered with, and you can take them from, you know, like there's one brand we're working with now, like they just launched, they already had a bunch of pre-orders, they're doing well on their D2C site, we're getting them on Amazon, but then we also want to blow them up on TikTok. And then if we can like double, triple their revenue, and then we have a partnership there, then that's where you can really, really, you know, scale it. But it's hard to do that just inside of Amazon. But again, you know, there are different paths to that. Then you're bringing on more. It's about finding the next product and continuing to build out your catalog. So just two different strategies.
It's pretty similar though for for most content agencies, the average LTV is like 3 months. Super short.
That's really
average.
Holy cow.
Right?
And and that's for the listener, just what's LTV?
Like lifetime value of the client. So like, for example, if you, I don't know, say you're an editor, you have an editing team, you have a bunch of Indians and they edit for you, and you charge people $3K a month to edit content. People will probably drop you after 3 months because there's another editing team that's better or cheaper. That's usually what happens. And so for us, like, we're fortunate, like our LTV is like over a year, which is great. I have clients that, you know, Corey's been with me for almost 2 years, and Warner's been with me for, you know, a year and a half. And so like I do have clients that relationship has been that long. And that's really great. And I make more profit, and I'm incentivized to keep people. So it does kind of focus on that partnership aspect. The thing that does suck, that's very similar to arbitrage, is that like a product or a piece of content can only work for a specific amount of time. Like I am very dependent on what trends are happening. Like something, we might crack something, and it's like, sweet, we're gonna milk some views, and we got a bunch of, like, we got 4 million views 1 month for one person, right? Sweet, awesome. Like, that's a hard job, is to make someone who's not very relevant. And then the difficult thing is like 3 months later, it's the exact same problem. Oh, that thing didn't work. We have to pivot completely new. We have to create something new and reassess where culture's at to see how we can insert our clients into there when they're not supposed to be relevant. And so that becomes more and more difficult over time. And that's it's a big pain in the ass. Is like, if you're an idea guy and you're like, I love solving the problem and I love figuring out where culture's at, it's not that big of a deal. But if most people, like, they don't like that. I don't love that. And if you're an ads guy, you don't necessarily have to deal with that. If you're a YouTube guy, it's not as brutal. YouTube is more evergreen because you can have videos that you produced a year ago get you leads right now. And so I do like that aspect of YouTube. But yeah, and there's, again, pros and cons with every single business. And it's like, do I like solving those problems? Do you like finding products? Sweet, do that. Do you like calling wholesale people? Sweet, do that. Do you like, there's dropshipping stuff, there's email marketing stuff, there's copywriting stuff, there's ad stuff, there's content stuff. Like, there's so many different avenues to make money. At the end of the day, if you're good at finding clients and you're good at keeping clients and you're good at getting results, you're going to be fine. There's a lot of ways to make money.
Well said. Well said. Do you consider yourself an ideas guy, or because you said that you kind of don't like that part, but I feel like that's something that you're pretty good at.
I do enjoy that. That's probably the main value add, right? Is like, and it's the main reason why clients don't tend to fire me, right? Is because Warner the other day was like, hey, I feel like the overly edited stuff is not working. We should probably go to more organic stuff. And I was like, yeah, sweet. And then I also found this, there's this guy, there's whiteboard content seems to be doing pretty well. Here's a couple different angles of how we could use it. Can we film some stuff and test this out? Right? Like, that's a lot of times what people at certain scales need. At first, you just need like an editor. You're like, I just don't want to edit my own videos. But eventually you want someone to be like, hey, what should I film? And you're like, hey, I've been studying. This would work for you. Corey called me, woke me up this morning and was like, hey, I have to film a YouTube video. What should I talk about? And I was like, all right. And so I got out of bed and did research.
A Corey wake-up call sounds terrible.
Yeah.
I know, but I was like, here's like 3 things that I'm researching that are probably relevant.
What did he call you at 3:30 in the morning?
No, it was early for me. He'd been up for 7 hours. He's
Corey's he's a morning guy.
He's a straight hustler. But yeah, I don't know, like that. I enjoy, that's my favorite part. There are the other parts that suck are like, there's granular stuff that sucks. I like being above. I like being in the strategy stuff. Once you get more granular, like if you had to sit me down and said, Grant, edit these videos, I hate it. I can't do it. And so I try to edit as little as possible. So if you said, Grant, here's our podcast, please edit it. We'll pay you lots of money. There's like very little. There's like there wouldn't be enough money in the world for me to just do that.
Talk to us a little bit how AI is kind of coming into the kind of social content space and how you're using that to like improve your videos.
Yeah. Opus sucks. Any of the clipping ones, they're absolute dog shit. It's so bad. It's like people, it's so bad. It's kind of similar to like there's some editing tools that are beneficial. Premiere's gotten a lot better. There's a couple things that are like, they're making more complex things more simple. The ideation side, it is getting closer to there where it's like, for example, like we use a tool called Poppy AI.
I saw you post about that.
Soft plug. Yeah, I'm partnering with that team, and
sick.
They're like, it's really great for being able to loop in and say, hey, here's like 30 videos on YouTube about this. Here's 10 videos from my client talking about it. Here's a bunch of articles that are relevant. Help me pull this together, and then you're creating a knowledge base it's like your own little learning model with context into what you care about that you can then ask questions to and create content from and even ideate. And so like for us, we've built out obviously SOPs and stuff for script writing, SOPs and stuff for hooks, SOPs and stuff for titling, and like there's a lot of things on the strategy side where AI originally was like, it'll get us like 40% of the way there, and now with stuff like that, it can get us like 65 to 70% of the way there, where we're able to focus on the things that are actually creative, and AI can help us get rid of the stuff that's not actually, like, it's more tedious and not really important. You're also like, there is getting a point where it's like there's some content that there's like I'm getting pissed off. Don't get me. There's like a lane of AI that's like creating these girl creators, these UGC girl creators, where it's like
I've
supposed to like
seen
something on their
that.
phone, and they're like all
It's not
tittied up,
It's so
and it's
not
like
it.
I'm just it makes me so angry. It makes me so depressed that it's probably gonna work. It's probably gonna do well, but I see that direction it's going, and that's not gonna be great. I don't think AI can replace brand though, like personal brand and human brand.
Who was it that posted about that? There was one big guy who was talking about doing his AI personal brand. Who was that? This was a couple months
There's
ago.
a bunch of people, dog. There's a bunch of people,
really?
and people they make like AI versions of themselves, and they say like, "Oh, you can ask me questions," and it's like, no,
Yes,
you
it was
can't.
that. Yes. Who's
like,
doing
no,
that?
That's something Chris Broussard or something like that, or there's a bunch of them. A lot of people try it. I don't want to talk to Alex Hormozy's AI. Like, no one wants
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
I would rather shake his hand and say, "What's up?" That'd be cooler. I don't want. I'm not interested enough in his knowledge to say, "Yeah, I'll pay money for that." So I don't think that's going to be valuable at all. But I think anybody that's not using it for copywriting or like making ideation processes easier, like it's so much more fun to be like, "Here's 20 ideas. Which one should I execute on?" That way I'm being creative and be like, "I want to execute on this. Okay, here's what it's supposed to look like. What can I improve about this?" That allows me to, my flow state to be like, rather than sitting at a keyboard and saying, "What do I create?" It's like, I have a bunch of stuff that would work. How do we make it better? And if you're good at that, that's going to, like, if you're doing it for that purpose, you're going to be really successful.
Nice. I like that a lot.
I don't really know what it is. Like, I know there's a bunch of them for like more analytical stuff, and there's a bunch of stuff for like Zapier integration. There's a bunch of stuff for like AI chat and a bunch of this stuff. That probably could work too. But when it comes to content creation, you're not really going to see AI creators be super influential in culture. You're going to see people leveraging it, but you're not going to be like, "Here's an AI robot and we're all going to worship it." That's just not going to happen. Mr. Beast is still going to win.
All right, give us 3 things if someone's starting, like let's just say someone's in the Amazon space, they want to post about their content to help network. What are like the three most important things that they should do?
Don't try to build a personal brand. I think it's dumb. I think most people shouldn't. I think people should create content to connect with other people and to help other people. So be very specific about who you want to help, what you want to help them with, and focus on documenting stuff. Don't pretend like you're cooler than you are. So like, you've accomplished some stuff, or you're just in the process of it. Talk about what you're doing, and then post it. Don't make it look doesn't it look pretty. You're like, it's a great year because guess what? Videos that are super highly edited on cameras that are really nice, right? Like this is a nice camera. People don't want to watch this. They want to watch stuff from your phone. So the fact that like I just was looking at Mel Robbins, she's a podcaster. I was looking at her TikTok, dude. She had videos that are super beautiful, podcast clips and perfectly edited and nice captions and stuff, cool stuff. And then she had 4 videos that were just her phone and her talking to it, as like just setting it up and being like, and I'm gonna do like, and it was like with no captions, and those performed better. Those had 2 million views compared to like the 5, like, you know. So all that being said, like it's a huge beneficial time to be able to just post your face and just get it out there, and then genuinely connect with other people. Be a human being, don't be a robot. Say something that's controversial that you believe in. So like rather than pretending like section 3s don't suck, talk about how they suck, right? Rather than pretending like there's not negative things in Amazon, talk about the negative things in Amazon and how you're working through it. And don't just be like, I'm trying to sell something or market something or pretend like you're more than you are, because everyone sees through that shit now. There's people that are legit and there's people that are not legit, and your job is to be legit. So I don't care if you have 200 followers, you should still just be doing that.
Beautiful. I love that. It just gets to the point. So simple. Great, Owen. Where can people go find you on the internet if they want to help, if they need help with their social media?
Don't contact me. I don't want to worry. I don't want to help you. No, you can hit me up on any of the socials. I do. We're gonna be posting a lot more, but I do have like a bunch of free content about like how to make stuff. And my goal, I do want to help like people that don't like. It does help that you can use this, but there's a lot of tools and there's a lot of cool stuff that should make it easier. Just don't overcomplicate it. And so if you need help with it, obviously like feel free to ask. And I'm human, and I'll give you a real answer.
Are you Grant Owen on everything, social wise? Okay.
Yeah, I am Grant Owen.
All right, people. You know where to find Grant Owen now. Bother him to the hills. We want to hear stories over the next week of how terrible you guys are. No, I'm just kidding. Guys, if you guys found value in this episode, give it a like and subscribe to Ecom Unlimited so you can stay updated on all of our new content, and we will see you on the next one. Peace.